So hi friends, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Biju Balakrishnan and I'm a property consultant here in Dubai. And I'm also a resident of UAE from 2006. And before I got into my real estate and business formation company, I was working here with various multinational brands. All right, so friends, today I'm talking to present you one of the most important topic in Dubai real estate transactions, which is the mortgages. Yes, the mortgages plays a very crucial and important role here in Dubai. And we have already seen that 15% of the transactions has happened uh, in Dubai real estate through mortgages. And yes, this is also very important subject for both off-plan or under construction projects and for ready to moving buyers, because this guide will help you to understand what are the pros and what are the parameters and what are the how easy it is to get loans for both residents and non-residents of Dubai. And we are also seeing that every month on month, that the mortgages transactions are increasing by 4 to 5%. And so that means that it's a very healthy sign what we are seeing here in Dubai real estate market. Professionals are coming into UAE or in Dubai, and they are going for buying a property here in Dubai. So let's understand slide by slide what are the ways to get a mortgage here in Dubai and all the criterias and parameters. So here the first question is, are non-residents eligible to apply for a mortgage here in Dubai? So for example, if you're a non-resident of UAE or Dubai, and if you're planning to buy a property here in Dubai under ready to move in category, so are you eligible for mortgage? So yes, the basic answer is yes. Non-residents are eligible to apply for mortgages in Dubai. Several UAE banks are offering financial options for international clients, typically covering 50 to 60% of property value. And some banks are 70% depending on the client's financial profile, documentation, and your nationality. So here, like every country, we also have a credit bureau, which is called Al Credit Bureau, which was formed in 2012, just after the financial crisis. So this will help you to analyze your financial history, financial credit information back at your home. And based on this, the banks will take action. And the criteria are your country of residence, which is very important. Some of the countries are not eligible to get a mortgages. And then your income, if you're in salaried or if you're in your own business, then availability of credit history in applicant's home country, which is very important here because the consistency of income is very important, which has to reflect in your bank statement. So in short, if you're buying and ready to move in, or if you're also under construction, you are, as a non-resident of UAE, you are eligible for a mortgage here in Dubai. And it is very easy. So which will I explain to you in the coming slide. So what documents do a non-resident needs to apply for a mortgage here in Dubai? So basically, again, it depends on banks to bank. But here are the most important documents, what you need to apply, or what you need even before approaching a bank or a mortgage advisor. So yes, the basic documents, as we all know that for salaried individuals, it's your valid passport and visa copy. If you have visited Dubai before, and if you have even having a visit visa copy, that is also important. And then your recent salary certificate, your last 6 months of personal bank statements, and then your credit report from the country of residence. This is very important nowadays, and most of the banks are asking this. And then, of course, your proof of tax returns, if applicable. And this is also very important because nowadays the banks will see what kind of tax and how much the tax deduction is happening in your home country. And for self-employed individuals, again, simple trade license or business registration documents, your last 6 months of both personal and company bank statements, audited financial statement or your management accounts, then your credit report from your home country. Again, as I mentioned in salaried individuals case, even for the self-employed, this is very important. And as we all know that banks prefer applicants with very stable income, positive cash flow, no major debts, and liquid savings in your personal account will also do favorable to your approvals, because this will help to banks to know that what is your personal savings. And Yeah, so these are the most common documents what you need or what you require to apply for a mortgage here in Dubai. So the most important question, can spouses jointly apply for a mortgage here in Dubai? The answer is always yes. Spouses can jointly own a property and apply for a mortgage together. However, in this case, we are assuming that the property, the wife will be only the co-owner, not the borrower. So in this case, the key point is that the bank will assess the income of the main applicant, that is your husband, most of the cases. And if the second applicant, example, the wife, is not employed or not contributing to the income, the loan will still be under the primary applicant's responsibility. But both the names can appear on the title deed as the co-owners. And this is what the most important is. Even if your wife is just a co-owner, your wife's name will appear on the title deed of the property. And the additional tip here is that taking an life insurance for the primary borrower is always recommendable to protect the co-owners in case of any unforeseen events. So this line is especially for all the off-plan property buyers or under construction property buyers. And if you are a buyer who's having an property which is going to hand over in the next 5 to 6 months, and if you are looking for the mortgage for the balance payment during the handover, so then this is the right time to take action. So the question here is, when is the right time to begin the mortgage process for an under construction property? So here it's advisable to start the mortgage process at least 6 months prior to the handover of the property. And this is what I recommend. And this is what most of the uh, mortgage advisors also recommend for you, because this provides enough time to collect and prepare the necessary documents, get mortgage pre-approval, fulfill any specific bank requirements or variation process, and it will allows you or gives you time for any potential delays in the paperwork or approvals. And so the most banks recommend completing all the documents at least 2 months before the handover. Here what it says is that at least you have to submit all your documents before 2 months of the handover, so you can smoothly transition to the final payments and registration without any pressure. So starting early will also give you more time to compare market rates and other offers from various banks and financial institutions. So this is always advisable for off-plan property buyers who is looking for an balance 50% or 30% or whatever your developer is giving to you. And if you're looking for a mortgage, so start early, prior at least 5 to 6 months before the handover, so that you will not face any pressure during the handover and during registration. So this slide explains to you what is the minimum income required to get a mortgage in UAE for a UAE residence. So most UAE banks require a salaried resident to earn a minimum fixed salary of 10,000 dirhams per month. And the salary should be deposited regularly into the UAE bank account, verified through a salary slip and an employer letter, which is also commonly called it as a salary certificate from the employer, and then supported by a consistent 6 months of bank statement. So the minimum salary what you required is minimum 10,000 dirhams per month as per the central government rule, and you will be entitled 7 times of that. So for example, if your salary is 10,000 dirhams per month and you are earning 120,000 dirhams per year, so you will be entitled to 720,000 dirhams as a loan, and that is equal to 7 times. So this is the basic rule of the UAE government. And so this is the basic rule from the UAE Central Bank. So you'll be entitled for an 750,000 loan amount if you are having a bare minimum of 10,000 dirhams monthly salary, where you can buy an easily an under construction project for an often 1 million if you are having an additional of 300 to 350,000 dirhams in your pocket. So here's the fifth question. Can I refinance an existing property to purchase another one? So here, yes, refinancing is also known as equity release, or typically what we call it as top-up, is a very popular strategy here in Dubai for property investors, especially when the market is booming. And we have seen a couple of examples, and we have seen investors making big profits out of their properties and how they are using that as an advantage for the top up, or we call it as an equity release. So here's how it works. If your property has appreciated in value, you can refinance it to access up to 75 to 80% of the new market value. So this will definitely work only if your property has appreciated above 50 to 60%. Then only it will make good sense. And this released funds can be used to purchase additional property or add land in Dubai. And banks will definitely conduct a new valuation to determine the available equity to find out what is exactly the top up value would be. And the important note, what you need to consider here is that equity released through refinancing must be used for real estate purchases only, not for personal or business use. This is the effective way to leverage the capital growth and expand your property portfolio without selling the asset. So this is one of the most common strategy what real estate investors have been doing, especially immediately after the COVID, and especially whenever a real boom happens in the market. And but again, if you are lucky enough that if you are having a property, a prime location with the right developer and in the right unit, then definitely you can also avail this kind of top up options in Dubai. So here's a slide. What happens if I leave the UAE or become a non-resident after taking a mortgage from any of the bank in UAE? So here you can continue to hold and repay your mortgage even after leaving the country. The bank does not cancel your loan if you relocate, or the bank will not ask you to close and leave the country. However, you must ensure that the repayments continue without any delay. And sometimes some banks may require an updated contact details or ask you for an overseas proof of income. And also you can rent the property, what is there in your name, and you can use that rental income for the repayments. So in case of a long-term non-residency, then it is advisable to communicate proactively with your bank or your mortgage broker of the bank to avoid any complications in the future. So here I would always suggest that it's always better that to communicate to the bank, to keep in constant communication with the bank and update the bank about your relocation. And this will always gain the transparency and trust between you and the bank. So the relationship will still goes on. So just to conclude, here are the key takeaways of this presentation. So if you're an investor or if you're an off-plan project investor, start the process as early as possible before the handover, like that's minimum 4 to 5 months before the handover, so that your loan will be approved during the handover process, and you will not be having the tension to run around for your balance payment towards the developer, especially if you are an investor who is looking for a mortgage during the handover. And then the second point is always, I recommend to find out the right mortgage broker for more personalized solutions. And if you would like me to connect with any of the personalized brokers, do let me know. And if you would like to know some basic information, do let me know. I can help you out. And always make sure your documents and credit history are in order. This is the most vital part. And then make sure that you understand your repayment ability. Here is what most of the investors, out of curiosity, they invest and they sometimes not be able to complete the payments. So please understand your repayment ability, understand the project value, understand the costs involved, and understand your goals. So yes, Dubai real estate market is evolving, and it's still one of the youngest market globally, and it is one of the cheapest market globally. So you will have ample of opportunities to grow your investments here in Dubai. So if you would like to know more about the projects, and if you would like to know more about the investment options in both off-plan and in secondary, please get in touch with me. I can help you out finding the best investments in the market as of now. And thank you for watching my video.